2012. My name is John Fisher, legislative co-chair for REAM. It's going to be interesting to just tell you a few things which have happened in the legislature since our last session. The Legislative Commission Pension Retirement did meet in September, October, and November, although in the November session we anticipated that they would be coming up with at least the broad outlines of the proposal for legislative reforms. The chair, Maury Lanning, basically ended the committee telling that the members and those of us who were present that they would be working throughout the legislative session. He did point out that they did start very, very late in May of last year, and so now during the session, the interim session, and ahead they're going to be attempting to try to bring about some reforms. The legislative session, as you know, is going to be 10 weeks. It's going to start at the end of January. The legislative chair, Mr. Lanning, said that they'd be meeting once a week, and REAM will be at those meetings. Briefly, what was accomplished at the last meeting, or not accomplished, they did not make any major decision on moving towards a hybrid plan. The hybrid plan would basically be putting people on a defined contribution plan for new hires, and then they'd be placed into maybe above $50,000 or whatever dollar amount they set into a defined contribution plan. We have some problems with that with REAM, specifically because that will then be not putting enough money into the actual legislative, into the reform system, and at the same time it's going to be causing some potential problems for meeting the, or keeping the TRA budget adequately funded. One of the other things that they did not do, but looks like they're going to do, and that is to reduce the interest assumptions for currently at 8.5% to somewhere right about 8%. REAM, Minnesota Education Retired, Education Minnesota, TRA are opposed to changing this particular formula for the simple reason that REAM's current position right now at an 8.5% funding level is, our funding is at 8.5%, 76.5%. What is going to be happening would be that we'd be losing about 4% of our basically funding. It would make it much easier, I think, for more people to decide that reforms must be made and things to be done. The next issue that we really want to try to stress is, of course, the precinct caucuses in Minnesota are going to be on February the 7th. I've talked to the Secretary of State's office, and they have identified that for those of us to find precisely which precinct that we should go to, it will be sos.state.min.us, where we can find our precinct caucus locations. We should just be aware that this year, all 201 members of the Minnesota legislature are going to be up for re-election, and so therefore this is really a very, very critical element to attempt to try to have our influence to be within the political party platforms as they are developing. We will, as REAM, provide you, as we get closer to that date, with some potential resolutions that we would like to have you consider authoring, and we also then like to have you consider attempting to become more advanced in the political process, to be at least elected to the next level, and hopefully beyond. That way we can maximize our political influence. We'll be in touch with you as soon as we can.